All right, welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at some pretty different topics,
Mm-hmm.
but I think by the end, you'll see how they're all connected. So we've got spinal cord learning,
Okay.
spontaneous combustion, and heat diffusion.
Interesting combination.
Yeah, so we're going to be like exploring how energy, especially heat, shapes things like superfast reflexes and those mysterious cases of media, like bursting into flames.
Yeah, it's amazing how both those things happen so fast, Like, on one hand, your spine can actually learn and react before your brain even knows what's going on.
Wow.
And then there's this whole idea of combustion where it's like someone can just ignite out of nowhere.
Yeah, okay, so let's start with those reflexes.
Okay.
I mean, we all know about them. You touch a hot stove, you pull your hand back. But I was reading that the spine is actually making decisions.
Oh, absolutely. It's like this, you have sensory nerves in your hand, right?
Right.
They detect that heat and send a signal up your arm.
Okay.
But instead of going all the way to the brain,
Uh-huh.
it gets intercepted by the spinal cord.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that spinal cord acts like a mini brain, basically. Like it analyzes that signal and immediately tells your muscles to pull back.
So it's like a shortcut in the nervous system to keep us safe.
Exactly. It's all about speed, It's designed to protect us from danger.
Makes sense.
But what's even crazier is that your spinal cord can actually learn from those experiences.
Wait, the spine can learn. I thought learning only happened in the brain.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's a newer area of research, but studies are showing that the neural pathways in your spine, they can actually get stronger, more efficient through repeated exposure.
Okay, so like practice makes perfect, but for your spine.
Haha, exactly. The more you do thinking, the smoother and faster the movement becomes. But in this case, it's happening at the level of your spinal cord.
So like if you keep, I don't know, touching a hot pan while you're cooking,
Yeah,
your spine might learn to react even faster each time.
exactly. And that could be the difference between like a small burn or a really bad one.
Wow, that's amazing. Our bodies are so complex.
They really are.
Okay, so how does all this connect to spontaneous combustion? It seems like we've gone from electrical signals to people bursting into flames.
Right. It's a big jump, but the link is heat diffusion.
Heat diffusion.
Yeah, whether it's a nerve impulse in your spine or a fire spreading through like wood, it's all about how heat energy moves around.
Okay, I'm with you so far, but could you break that down a bit more? Like, what exactly is heat diffusion, and how does it work in both these things?
Sure. Imagine you drop some red food coloring into a glass of water.
Okay.
And first it's all concentrated in one spot,
Yeah,
but then it spreads out until the whole glass is like a pale pink.
right, that's good.
Fusion, it's moving from high concentration to low concentration.
So it's trying to even itself out.
Exactly. And heat does the same thing. It always moves from hotter areas to cooler areas until everything's the same temperature.
Okay, I can see how that applies to fire, like the flames spread and heat things up around them.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those nerve signals in the spine? Like, I don't picture little flames shooting down my back when I touch something hot.
Aha, no flames, thankfully. But there is heat.
Ooh,
When that sensory neuron detects something, like a hot pan,
yeah.
it creates a tiny electrical impulse,
Uh-huh.
and that impulse travels down the neuron, kind of like a domino effect, and it generates a tiny amount of heat.
So each signal creates a little burst of heat.
Exactly, and that's where heat diffusion comes, and that tiny bit of heat actually helps activate the next part of the neuron so the signal can keep moving.
So it's like a little push to keep the signal going.
You got it. It might seem small, but it's super important for those fast reactions.
Wow, I never knew there was actual heat involved in those quick responses.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so we've got heat diffusion helping our reflexes work super fast. But what about spontaneous combustion?
Right. So for that, we need to talk about what spontaneous combustion actually is, or what it isn't.
Okay.
Because despite all those crazy stories, the idea of someone suddenly bursting into flames from the inside out, that's pretty much impossible scientifically.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're telling me all those stories about people just like suddenly combusting, that's not really true. Or
Mhm.
what about those cases where people are found burned and there's no like obvious reason? It's pretty freaky.
It is, yeah. And for a long time, people thought it was some weird internal combustion thing. But the more we learn about fire and the human body, the more we see that there are actually much better explanations.
So if people aren't actually like bursting into flames from the inside out, what's really happening in those cases?
It usually comes down to a few things, like some kind of external heat source,
Okay.
even something small, and that idea we talked about, heat diffusion.
Right. Remind me how heat diffusion fits into this.
So imagine someone falls asleep, maybe near a fireplace, or even just a cigarette that's smoldering.
Uh-huh.
Their clothes could catch fire, and that heat from that small flame starts to, spread out.
Okay.
Now, this is where it gets a little Grim, but it's important to understand the
All
science.
right, I'm ready.
So the human body itself, it's not actually that flammable,
Oh, okay.
but our clothes and the fat under our skin, those can act as fuel.
Oh,
There's this thing called the wick effect.
the wick effect.
Yeah, where clothing basically acts like a wick, drawing melted fat upwards, and that keeps the fire going, but it's a slow burn.
So it's not a big burst of flames. It's more like a candle slowly burning.
Exactly, and because it's slow, it might not make enough smoke or flames to, alert anyone nearby.
Oh, wow.
And by the time someone finds them, the person could be badly burned, and that original cause of the fire, like the ember or the cigarette, it could be totally gone, and then it just looks really mysterious.
That makes way more sense than someone just randomly bursting into flames.
Right,
It's a good reminder to be careful with fire, even small stuff.
definitely.
But have scientists ever been able to recreate this wick effect to see how it works?
They have, yeah, they've done experiments with pig carcasses because they have similar fat to humans
Oh, okay.
to study this whole wick effect thing. And they found that things like what the clothes are made of, the position of the body, even what's around the body, all that can change how fast or slow the burning happens.
So it's not just a simple explanation, there's a lot to it.
Exactly. And that's why it's important to think about these mysteries scientifically. You have to look at everything, consider all the science behind it, and not just jump to conclusions based on those crazy stories.
Right, so we've busted the myth of spontaneous combustion, but we started talking about the spine and the amazing things it can do.
Right.
We talked about reflexes, but are there other, hidden talents our spines have?
Oh, yeah, definitely. One really exciting area is using spinal cord stimulation to help people who are paralyzed.
Wait, are you saying we could, bypass a damaged spinal cord and help people move again?
It's still early, but the research is really promising. The idea is to put electrodes near the spinal cord and use tiny electrical impulses to stimulate those nerves that control movement.
Okay.
And the amazing thing is, even when the spinal cord is badly injured, the nerves below the injury are often still okay.
So the signals from the brain aren't getting through, but the nerves in the legs, for example, they can still work.
Exactly. It's like the communication lines are down, but the machinery is still there.
I see.
And with these targeted electrical pulses, scientists are finding that they can kind of wake up those circuits and get those movements happening.
That's incredible. So instead of the brain sending those signals, these implants are kind of taking over, telling the legs to move?
Yeah, kind of. And what's really cool is that sometimes with this stimulation and some physical therapy, the spinal cord itself starts to relearn how to control movement, even without the brain telling it what to do.
So even if the injury can't be fixed, the spinal cord can adapt and find new ways to move.
That's what it seems like, yeah, which opens up so many possibilities for helping people with paralysis.
That's amazing. We've gone from debunking myths about people bursting into flames to talking about how we might help people walk again.
I know, it's a wild ride.
It really is. This is all so fascinating. Yeah, it's wild to think our bodies can do all that. They have this potential to heal and adapt that we're just starting to understand.
Right. And this whole idea of the spinal cord learning, it makes me think of another place where we see heat diffusion being super important.
Okay.
Extreme environments.
Extreme environment.
Yeah, think about creatures that live in those super hot places, like deep sea vents or the desert.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those documentaries, those crazy animals living by underwater volcanoes. It's like another planet. How do they handle all that heat?
Well, one way is to minimize how much of their body is actually touching the heat.
Okay.
Like those tube worms that live by the vents, they have these long, thin bodies, so they're not touching as much of that super hot water.
So it's like they're shrinking their heat footprint.
Haha, exactly. And some creatures have special proteins in their bodies that protect their cells from the heat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like tiny heat shields, so their bodies don't just break down.
That's amazing. So they're built to resist heat.
Mm-hmm.
But what about desert animals? They can't just hide in a vent.
Right, they've got their own tricks too.
Like what?
Well, some of them, like camels, they can handle really high body temperatures.
Really?
Yeah, they let their body get hotter during the day, which actually helps them save water because they don't sweat as much.
Huh.
And get this, their noses work like air conditioners.
What?
Yeah, their noses cool the air they breathe and even pull moisture out of their breath so they don't lose as much water.
That's wild.
It's amazing what nature can do. And it's all about controlling that heat energy.
Right.
From a tiny worm by a volcano to a camel walking through the desert.
Yeah.
It shows how powerful evolution is, how it helps life survive anywhere.
I know. It's mind-blowing to think about all the different ways heat diffusion shapes our world.
Mm-hmm.
It's behind those super fast reflexes we have and how animals live in crazy environments. It's all connected.
Exactly. Even those basic physics ideas can have a huge impact on life.
Well, I think my brain needs a break after all that. We've covered a lot today.
Aha, we have.
From spinal cords learning to people bursting into flames and even a trip to those extreme environments.
It's been quite the journey.
It has. I hope this has made everyone curious to learn even more.
I hope so too.
So until next time, keep those brains firing, and we'll be back soon with another deep dive.